This here is from the Daily Mail. The View star Sonny Hostin says Latinos didn't vote for Kamala because they're misogynistic. Now, this word here is something that's been a plague for a long time, and one of the reasons I'm covering this article is because this word seems to spread out across entertainment, politics, pop culture, and everything. There's just too much of it these days. As you know, if you followed Johnny Depp from Amber's side, Johnny got called this a lot. And now it's going to be, well, Latinos being called this. Let's see what we got. Sonny Hostin branded Hispanic voters as sexist and misogynist after Kamala Harris lost a significant portion of the voter bloc in the presidential election. The View star clashed with co-host Alyssa Farah Griffin as they led a liberal media-wide meltdown over Trump's thumping victory. And I gotta admit, this meltdown has been very historically entertaining. More to come on that perhaps. Farah Griffin, a former Trump administration official, brought up that Harris won Latino voters by just 6 points, despite Joe Biden winning the group by 33 points in 2020 and Hillary Clinton by 38 points in 2016. They go on to say that a district in Texas with 97% Latino population went 75% for Trump. Now, here's what I want to get to. Why, she questioned, before Hostin interrupted her co-host and said, misogyny. Now, the whole reason that these Latinos, I think, who were probably a lot men, voted for Donald Trump was because they'd been called misogynist for like 4 years or something. At a certain point, if you call someone a name so much in every facet of life, it's going to annoy them. It's not going to matter what race you are, what color you are, what politics you have. If you keep throwing this word at people, like this host is doing now, here's what happens. They're going to vote for the side that they're not being called that by. Now, I'm not saying that they were directly called that by politicians, by the people who they're voting for, but, you know, all those people around these politicians, all these people around who they're voting for, were calling them that, including this person here. And if they do it for another 4 years, probably in this district, you're going to see every single Latino there vote for whoever's not calling them that. Obviously, 4 years from now, it will not be Trump. Farah Griffin grew irate and threw her hands in the air at Hostin's remark and stressed that liberals need to take some lessons from Trump's resounding win. I don't like the word liberal so much because I consider liberals like to be middle of the road. I myself am, I'd say, an old school liberal, but I get the drift. I think the lesson here is if you keep calling someone, like I said, over and over the same name, A, it loses meaning, B, it's very irritating, and C, they're going to just retaliate against it. Think about, like I said, Johnny Depp, who was called this misogynist for how many years? At a certain point, it's got no meaning. And at a certain point, you've been called the name so much, then you just kind of shoot back at the other side. You could only take so much. I mean, you can't, like, ignore something forever. You could ignore something in your daily life, don't worry about it, but at a certain point, if every time you click on something you want to enjoy or want to check out has this word thrown at you, it's impossible to ignore it forever. Hostin then doubled down on her comment and insisted again that misogyny and sexism are the reason Hispanic voters rejected Harris. And they say Whoopi interrupted with a very, very ridiculous knock-knock kind of joke. And here's my other point. This kind of name-calling is way too broad of a brush. She's calling millions of Hispanic voters bigoted and looking over every other reason they voted. Okay, I concede, man. A certain percent maybe are misogynist. A certain percent maybe are sexist. Yes, that exists. I can't say it enough. But what percent is that? 3, 4, 5, 7? What about the other vast majority? Then they said some other silly stuff that isn't quite related to my main point. I don't really care who you voted for. It doesn't matter so much to me. But I think my coverage is going to spread out just a little bit. And especially when I could kind of tie it together with the stuff I've been doing here for a long time, which is Star Wars, Marvel, and how it was ruined basically, and Johnny Depp. And this word is very familiar. Sounds the same to me. She's calling millions of Latinos misogynist over and over in the same way Johnny got it. So hopefully they'll have better arguments and explain what they mean a little bit more than these silly buzzwords, basically. Anyway, if you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.